News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
An out-of-control slash fire is contained in Grant Creek. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It's Wednesday, March 11th, 2015. Clear sky in western Montana right now, 35 degrees. And our newscast this morning is sponsored by Dig It Excavating, where they bring 30 years of excavation excellence to your job. Visit their website, digitmontana.com, or call 214-4292. Just after 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon, Missoula Rural Fire was called out to fight a wildland fire in the 11,000 block of Grant Creek Road after a slash burn got away from a local homeowner. Battalion Chief Greg Orr said when firefighters arrived, the blaze was already climbing up a steep hillside.
We had a quick jump on it with some help from City Fire, and ultimately the Forest Service, with the quick work of the guys, they were able to get ahead of it and get up and pinch it off before it got too far up into the trees, and we held it at about an acre.
Open burning permits became available March 1st, or has advice for property owners who want to do their own burning.
As far as safety goes, just make sure that you've got folks there that can help you, and make sure you got some good hand tools and water, and watch the weather as well. Of course, wind is a huge contributing factor to a lot of these fires, so if it gets windy, put it out. If it's windy, don't start it.
Orr says homeowners should never hesitate to call 911 immediately if a fire gets out of control. No injuries were reported, no structures damaged by that fire. A structure fire in Paradise destroyed a rental home and closed Highway 200 for over 2 hours Monday night. Detective Martin Spring with the Sanders County Sheriff's Department has details.
Fire department responded to a fire between 7 and 7:30 in Paradise. Upon arrival, the structure was fully involved, and they just did protection for the other properties because they couldn't save the structure. And total loss, it was a rental unit, and they believe that the fire was caused by an electric baseboard heater.
Spring said fire crews remained on the scene until Tuesday morning to make sure the fire didn't spread. Spring said no one was injured. The home of the total loss, he did not have an estimate on the damage. A Hardin woman has been charged with deliberate homicide at the death of her 6-year-old stepdaughter. The Billings Gazette reports 28-year-old Kirsten Oldbull was charged in Bighorn County Justice Court yesterday. She did not enter a plea. A statement said deputies and FBI agents have been investigating the alleged assault of Kiomora Hogan since March 3rd. County Attorney Jay Harris says the fatal injury happened March 2nd while Kiyomora's father was out running errands. Undersheriff Bart Elliott says Kiomora was flown to a Denver area hospital for treatment. Harris says Kiomora died on March 6th of a single forceful blow to the head. Members of the U.S. Senate sent a letter to the Islamic Republic of Iran Monday explaining Congress's role in making treaties, judging by comments made by Montana Senator Steve Daines. The letter appears to also be intended for the Obama administration.
President Obama is setting a dangerous precedent by negotiating with a leader that is a state sponsor of terrorism. I think we need to ensure that any agreement will completely end the threat of a nuclear-armed Iran. The letter reminds the Iranians that any agreement not ratified by Congress can be easily undone by the next president.
Daines expressed fears that the negotiations were putting America at risk.
My number one goal is to ensure that Iran does not have nuclear capabilities. An agreement that does not lead to a nuclear-free Iran will undermine our allies in the Middle East and our security right here at home. I think we need President Obama to stand up and make America safe.
The U.S. began bilateral talks with Iran back in August, and a deadline for a deal is scheduled for July 1st. At the moment, an interim agreement is in place. And speaking of Senator Daines, he and Congressman Ryan Zinke will be the keynote speakers at the Montana Republicans Party's statewide dinner in Helena. Republicans, elected officials, and others will gather to celebrate the party's 2014 victories and gear up for the 2016 election season. The dinner is open to the public, takes place March 14th at the Gateway Center. Authorities say a high school senior was killed in a two-vehicle crash near Fairfield, northwest of Great Falls. The Great Falls Tribune reports 18-year-old Taylor Paddock was killed when she crashed her car into a pickup truck about a mile outside Fairfield Tuesday morning. The 31-year-old pickup driver and her 7 and 9-year-old children were taken to a nearby hospital. Sears and Southgate Mall will be closing in June. However, Sears hometown stores hope to open a location in Missoula by the 4th of July. Our regional development manager for Sears hometown stores, Gerald Houston, said there are over 900 Sears hometown stores across the country.
When a big mall store closes, what our plan is that we would go back into the market and we would put in a Sears hometown store in that market. And in some cases, we can't find a local person that wants to Hometown store, we'll do a new concept that's called a store within a store.
Houston says a Sears Hometown store carries many of the products consumers will recognize from the larger mall stores.
The merchandise that's carried in the store is going to be all of the appliances, all the top brand appliances, including the Kenmore's #1 appliance sold throughout the U.S. And you're also going to carry the lawn and garden with all of the craftsman products.
Houston said anyone interested in investing and opening their own Sears Hometown store can contact his office at 816-674-3833 or visit the link to Hometown stores on our website. At the story there, the Newstalk, KGVO.com. The State House has endorsed a bill that would ban texting while driving. The House voted 52-48 to endorse House Bill 297 yesterday. Montana is the only state that does not ban at least some drivers from texting. The bill will need to pass a third vote in the House to move on to the Senate. A new weather system is expected to push through western Montana this weekend, bringing rain with it. Meteorologist Lance Vanderboogart with the National Weather Service in Missoula says travelers should be aware of rock slides.
There's a system moving through this upcoming weekend, and it looks pretty wet. So one concern that we have is that the rain could dislodge some rocks on the really steep terrain near area roadways, such as what we've seen on I-90 and Highway 12 west of Lolo in recent months.
Vandenbogart said the storm system is unlikely to add much to areas. Snowpack, though.
It's going to be warm. With this system, things cool off a little bit, so there will be snow in the highest terrain, but we're not expecting significant snow accumulations even at passes. So it will be a warmer system than some of the ones we've seen this winter.
Most of the moisture is expected to come into the area on Sunday. Finally, a former chairman of Montana's Chippewa Cree tribe has been sentenced to almost 3 years in prison after pleading guilty to felony charges in a wide-ranging corruption case on the Rocky Boys Reservation. U.S. District Judge Brian Morris in Great Falls sentenced Bruce Harold Sunchild yesterday on charges of theft, income tax evasion, and accepting a bribe. Sunchild does have the right to appeal his sentence. Our News Talk time is 6:10.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Mostly cloudy to cloudy skies today with our high temperatures topping out in the low 60s. A few isolated showers are possible this afternoon. Winds will be out of the west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13.